scene for comic book fans. But like yourself, I mean, I want a Sinister Six movie as much as anybody, but
Sure.
I feel like they really are rushing to the finish line. They really got to let these characters breathe. Some of the most affecting scenes in The Amazing Spider-Man, the initial one was the love story. I love, not to compare them with the Sam Raimi trilogy, which is its own beast and really needs to be taken on its own accord. But the one thing about those movies I didn't like was the love triangle, which is what it was. But
sure.
I do love that it's just a love story now about two people. We don't have to worry about whether she's going to end up with James Franco or not.
Right.
I love that we're past that. But at the same time, I feel like some of the best elements of the original movie are completely lost.
All right, well, I'll take a look at that. Let's get through a couple more of these bad boys. We're at the Midsummer Movie Review. So what else is next on the list?
Well, on May 16, you have the return of the big fella, Godzilla.
We'll kind of shoot through these movies now because those are the two big tentpoles. Godzilla, you and I were highly excited about, but unfortunately disappointed by the outcome.
Yes, definitely. I think there's a lot of good things in the movie. I think there's some spectacular scenes.
Sure.
But this is one of these films that when I watch it again, I'll probably skip past certain portions of it, namely all the scenes with Aaron Taylor Johnson, who I thought was completely underwhelming in the lead.
I think that a dish rag would have done a better job at acting in his place than he did because he was horrible.
Yes.
And that's the guy, and that's the kid from Kick-Ass.
Yes.
And he did a great job in that movie. So I was very surprised. So Godzilla, we'd give it... We would give it a 2 out of 5, 2.5 out of 5, something like that.
Yeah, mixed review. Lower your expectations, and very quickly we'll say, I mean, this is crazy sounding, but I absolutely think this needs to be said. I know, Greg, you agree with me on this. The 1998 Godzilla, which I'm not a fan of, which I thought was completely cartoonish and over the top, I still feel that movie delivered more of what audiences wanted. There's more spectacle, there's more of the big fella, there's more action. I feel like this new Godzilla is too much of an art film. And that approach is refreshing and it's interesting, but I don't feel like it completely worked.
Godzilla, 1998, underrated. Completely underrated. All right, next film.
The same weekend, I don't know how much of an event film this is, and this movie's gone already, was $1 Million Arm, John Hamm's first major starring role. It was a Disney sports comedy, completely forgettable, the kind of movie you watch on an airplane and completely forget the second you get to your destination. So
snoozer.
Yeah, completely.
Moving on.
X-Men Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past.
Yes.
Okay, so let's... We won't get into too much of it because it is all I can say is this, Barry. It was a spectacular summer movie. I think that everyone did a good job. I think the story was surprisingly as convoluted as it could have been. They kept it very coherent for everybody to pay attention to, and I thought it was very good.
Yeah, this is a real return to form for the franchise, return to form for the controversial director, Bryan Singer.
Yes.
Everyone in the cast is spot on. This is one of Hugh Jackman's finest turns yet as Wolverine. It has some of the best action scenes, some of the most inventive scenes of the year. This movie is just so inventive and creative. It reminded me of when I saw the first X-Men, how excited it made me for the franchise.
Yeah, I have high hopes for X-Men in the future because now we're going to be going into the Age of Apocalypse. For those of you comic book nerds, you know what I'm talking about. So looking forward to the new X-Men coming out in a few years. So that'll be fantastic.
Did you see the final scene? Just stay through the end credits?
Of course.
What did you think of that final scene?
It was great. It was great. Well, I don't want to. No spoiling. No spoilers on this show, or try not to, maybe, but it was good, and I think it sets up what's to come, which will be fantastic. I'm very excited. All right, next on that list there, Barry.
My favorite film of the summer so far. This was a real surprise for me. This opened on May 30th, Maleficent, which has already been a huge blockbuster. It's the most successful film that Angelina Jolie's ever had her name attached to.
Surprising. I got a lot of mixed reviews on that thing.
I love this film. It's not Enchanted. It's not Ella Enchanted. It's a really dark, edgy Disney film. This reminds me of the kind of movies they used to do back when we were kids, like Return to Oz or The Black Hole. This is a really violent, dark, and morally complex film.
Disney via Quentin Tarantino?
I wouldn't go quite that far.
Okay, just checking.
But it is strong stuff, though.
Wow,
really strong.
okay.
Way too strong for some of the really, really young kids. But kind of the way you were talking about The Amazing Spider-Man, this movie certainly had me choked up. The emotion is certainly there. The writing is there. The performances are there. It's not just that Angelina Jolie is so spot on in her performance and she's so great in the role, but the movie finds really complex directions with the role. At times you hate Maleficent. At times you love her. At times you're really conflicted about her. This is a tough little movie. Little movie. It's a $200 million movie.
Right.
But oddly enough, I found it to be really emotionally rich in addition to being so spectacular and so beautiful.
I think I'll take a look at that, and I've heard that there's been a lot of women, a lot of girls that come out of there weeping. They have a very emotional, visceral reaction to the end of the film.
Yeah.
So I will put that on my list of things to watch, because I didn't pay it any mind, because it felt like it was going to be more geared towards the kids. But
Sure.
if it's got this darker tone, I'm quite interested.
Yeah.
So where would you put it on your scale, Barry?
Oh, I give it the very top. Absolutely.
Really?
I think this is one of the best films of the year. I really do.
Wow.
I was completely surprised by it. I saw it 3 times. I mean, I'm a fan of this film.
All right. Next movie, sir.
Unfortunately, same weekend, and I think one of the worst films of the year, if not the summer, that's Seth MacFarlane's A Million Ways to Die in the West.
Did I tell you I saw that?
No.
I watched it. And it is one of the worst movies of the year, unfortunately, and I love Seth MacFarlane. I thought his character was terrible. I thought that he was a whiner. It just threw me off. And instead of going for the slide joke, they always went for the obvious.
Yes.
And I felt really cheated by that. And I was a little disappointed that Seth would do that. So.
For Pete's sake, I mean, one of the repeating jokes is that Amanda Seyfried has big eyes. I mean, that's not comedy. That's not funny.
That's not funny.
That's so stupid.
It's stupid. Absolutely. So I would say that's a non-recommended film.
Yes.
Million Ways to Die in the West, not good. Don't see it. Horrible. Next movie.
We'll go to one that you saw, which I have yet to catch up with, and I've heard nothing but great things about it. Opening on June 6th, that was The Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. My former partner, and I, we went to go see it the other day, and I have to say that Edge of Tomorrow is Groundhog Day, which it gets a lot. That's the, I guess that would be the description that most people give it. It's Groundhog Day via Starship Troopers. And that's not, and I say that as a compliment, because it's a very fun movie. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's dark enough, and it's also light enough, and it's a very fun film to check out. So if you haven't seen Edge of Tomorrow, Tom Cruise is fantastic. Emily Blunt is beautiful in this movie, and she got herself toned up for this film, and she looks sexy. She's phenomenal. So check it out, Edge of Tomorrow. Great story. Doug Liman directed it and did a good job. So definitely check out Edge of Tomorrow for sure.
The following week, we had 2 sequels, both of which surpassed the original one, How to Train Your Dragon 2. This was a nice
Haven't
surprise.
seen it, want to watch it.
This is a great film. I won't give this away, but there's a scene in the film that reminded me of Bambi. There's a scene that is so heartbreaking and so devastating and real gutsy for a kid's film. And on top of that, the action sequences are great. They get rid of that whole whiny thing of Dad, why won't you listen to me? They get rid of that whole stupid subplot that weighed the original down. This just tops the original in every way. It's a great film.
Awesome.
And the other being 22 Jump Street.
Right, which has gotten a lot of people said it's very good.
It's hilarious.
22 Jump Street is
it's absolutely hysterical, and they amp up my favorite thing about the original. That's my boy Ice Cube. I love Ice Cube, and he's hysterical in this movie.
Okay, you're not saying it right though. It's Ice Cube. Ice Cube. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, next.
Okay, next.
Moving on. Listen, we're going a little quickly, but don't worry. We'll probably take some more time to kind of go through them in deeper tone later on. So go ahead. What's the next film?
Well, next one, I think I'm one of the only people who saw. That's Jersey Boys, Clint Eastwood's musical.
Yes.
Very out of place counter programming bit for summer. Really belonged in the fall or like an Oscar film. Kind of releasing against all the big boys of summer. This film just really didn't find its audience, and it's not a very good film.
That's what I heard. It's super disappointing.
It's incredibly dull. This is based on a really great stage play. I saw it in Vegas a few years ago. It was absolutely thrilling. The music was great, but this is one of these things where you just want to buy the Best of Frankie Valli CD.
Right.
Skip the movie. It's really
Frankie Valli CD. I got that at home. Right.
There you go.
Awesome.
You're good. You don't need to see the film.
Good.
And then following that was June 27th. You had the release of Transformers: The Age of Extinction.
Have not seen that yet myself. You say it's horrible.
It's amazing to say this, but it could be the worst Transformers movie yet. I think I'm not a fan of these movies. I really feel like. I feel like Michael Bay just was not the right guy to do these movies.
This it's called the NerdWatch Nation. You can't say you hate it because it's very nerdy, right? So we have to be more politically correct. No, you can say you hate it.
I feel like Michael Bay made one good movie. I like The Island. Completely unoriginal film, but I think it's a very good film. I think it's an inventive movie. It actually takes time to develop character and story. These Transformers movies, it's like I'm watching these movies on fast forward. It's just one spectacle after another. These movies are obnoxious. They are annoying. They're horrible in the writing. They're horribly acted. This movie makes Mark Wahlberg look foolish. It makes Stanley Tucci look foolish. It was just a painful experience. And the actress in this movie, whose name I can't even remember, I think we see her face once. The camera is just on a Okole for 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 40 minutes.
For those that are not from Maui, what is Okole exactly?
Okole is the word for derriere for all our mainland listeners.
Oh, okay, fantastic.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Just want to make sure we got that out there. Okay, we'll interpret local jargon.
Yes. Remind me when I need to do the Howley translation. Good. Yeah, that'll be a special feature on the show.
Why don't we do this? We'll stop there for now. Transformers. There's a few more movies we want to talk about. I will say this, that what are you looking forward to?
The Expendables 3. Because
Man After My
Own Heart. Where
Heart.
else can you see those guys all in the same movie? Scarlett Johansson in Lucy is coming out.
Yes. I can't wait for Expendables 3 just because Harrison Ford is in a chopper, and all I want to hear him say is "punch it, Chewie." That's all I want him to. That's all I want him to say. Be great.
And then, of course, there is. I'm going to knight him. I know he's not a knight, but Sir Dwayne Johnson. He deserves to be a knight as Hercules. That's the most perfect casting ever. I hope the movie lives up to the casting.
Okay. Well, listen. He is playing a Greek god. And I tell you what, it does take a lot of acting skill to be a Greek god when you're Samoan. So I will save my criticism for that movie once I see it, because it looks like it's going to be incredibly fun. I'm a little worried it's Brett Ratner.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
But of course, he's the guy who did the disastrous X-Men: The Last Stand, and of course, he's responsible. He's the gentleman responsible for all those Rush Hour movies.
Yes.
So we'll take that with a grain of salt. I will say this: next time we'll be talking about Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. We'll talk about Blended, which I've seen 3 times, and I'll tell you why later on. But we have come to the end of our first episode of the NerdWatch Nation. Yay! I'm so excited.
You did it.
So listen, anything you recommend for people to watch at home? Netflix fix,
I do. There's a really strange movie out there for adventurous filmgoers who want to see a sci-fi film that is completely out of control, completely different from what you'd expect, and one of the most original and certainly one of the most unforgettable films of the year. That is Under the Skin, starring Scarlett Johansson. The easy way to describe this film is that it's an art house version of Species. She is an alien. She is, well, they don't exactly explain what it is, but she is basically seducing men and killing them in ways that you've never really seen before. This is a dark film. It is from the point of view of the aliens. It never really lets you into what is going on with the alien world. It is truly a unique experience. The news has been that Scarlett Johansson is naked in this film. Yes, she is. But the real news is that she actually gives a very captivating and original performance. There are some unforgettable sights in this movie, among them Scarlett Johansson. Sci-fi fans of people who just like things that are different and unique, need to give this film a shot. You'll never forget it.
All right, I'll check. She's naked in the film. I won't be checking it out.
There's
no way I'm watching this film. I'm disgusted by that. Disgusted that she's naked in that film. Under the Skin. Check it out. It's actually on Netflix. Not Netflix. It's on iTunes. Mm-hmm. It's also on Vudu if you have it as well. So check that out. Under the Skin. Scarlett Johansson. Very small, underrated film.
Yes.
Where can everybody reach you, or write to you? What's your Facebook? What's your Twitter? What you got out there?
Facebook is just at Barry Worse. You can find me there. And there's also my Maui Watch email. Is at barry@mauiwatch.com.
Oh, fantastic! If you want to, if you guys want to hit me up, of course, I'm at my Twitter handle is gmoney808. You can check me out there. My Facebook is facebook.com/gt808. If you guys have any comments or questions, please, by all means, give us a holler. We'd like to hear from you. And you can email me at gmoney808@mauiwatch.com. Of course, we are an affiliate of Maui Watch. This is a new offshoot, so we're super excited. We're very excited to where this is going to be going, and there'll be a lot more. And we're going to hone our skills as newfound podcasters. So it's been real, Barry. I've had a lot of fun, and I hope that we can be a little longer in the tooth next time, and we'll get down and dirty with some more movies. I'm really excited to talk about Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. For me, feel-good summer movie of the year. You got to check it out. But we'll talk more about that later. Of course, I am G Money. I am joined by a good friend, and also, literally, this is not a joke. It's he's not just professor in name only. He has credentials for it, and I'm sure he could show it to you or post it or something, right? You are a professor. Yeah,
I am.
You have a college degree. You're already one up on me, so good for you. So Professor Barry, he's our movie extraordinaire guy. Check us out, MauiWatch.com. We're part of the new NerdWatch Nation. So please, by all means, next time check us out. Episode 2 hopefully coming up very shortly. So until then, we'll see you next time.